The cast of CHiPs once ruled the highways of television, bringing action, camaraderie, and unforgettable moments to audiences. But off-screen, their lives took unexpected detours. Some faced devastating accidents, while others struggled with personal challenges that reshaped their futures. In 2025, where are they now? Who managed to steer their lives back on track, and who remains caught in the twists of fate? Join us as we uncover the real-life journeys of the CHiPs cast, stories filled with resilience, heartbreak, and redemption that rival the drama of the show itself. Robert Pine, who portrayed Sergeant Joseph Getrayer in CHiPs, was 36 years old when he took on the role of the no-nonsense yet fatherly sergeant guiding his younger officers. His calm demeanor and steady hand became a pillar of the series. Off-screen, Pine faced a quieter set of struggles. Though he married actress Gwynne Guilford in 1969 and the couple had 2 children, including actor Chris Pine, the marriage endured long periods of emotional distance. Pine was often consumed by work, and the family battled with his long absences and eventual detachment from his children during their teenage years. After CHiPs, his career slowed considerably, leaving him feeling creatively stagnant and overlooked by the industry. He faced several personal losses, including the death of his younger sister, a close friend's suicide, and a stroke in his late 60s that left him partially paralyzed for a year. Despite these hardships, he remained resilient, leaning on his love of classic cinema and quiet afternoons in his Los Angeles home. Now 83, Pine lives a modest life with an estimated estate of $1.8 million, often reflecting on a career of missed opportunities and the warmth of a role that never left him. Eric Estrada, who played Officer Frank Poncherello, was 28 when CHiPs launched him into stardom with his flashy smile, cocky swagger, and magnetic charm. The character became iconic, but Estrada's real life spiraled into painful contradictions. He married 3 times, first to model Joyce Miller, then to Peggy Rowe, and lastly to Nanette Mirkovich, with each marriage unraveling due to infidelity, emotional volatility, and the pressures of fame. He has 3 children, Anthony, Brandon, and Francesca, none of whom he maintains a close relationship with. Post-CHiPs, Estrada struggled to shed his typecast image, facing career stagnation and minor roles that left him disillusioned. Financial troubles mounted in the 90s, worsened by failed investments and a tax lien. He survived a near-fatal motorcycle accident in 1994 and battled depression in silence. Though he briefly worked in real law enforcement, the move felt more like a public relations effort than a true calling. Now 76, he lives in semi-retirement in Idaho, his estimated estate at $600,000, far from the fame and fortune once promised by Hollywood. Larry Wilcox, who played Officer John Baker, was 30 when CHiPs premiered, bringing a reserved, responsible energy to balance Estrada's exuberance. Behind the scenes, Wilcox wrestled with feelings of being overshadowed and underappreciated. He married 3 times, first to Judy Vanner, then to Hannie Strasser, and finally to Marlene Harmon. He fathered 5 children: Derek, Heidi, Chad, Wendy, and Ryan. None of his marriages were peaceful. 2 ended bitterly in court, and the 3rd has long been estranged though never legally dissolved. His post-CHiPs career faltered, marred by missed opportunities and a reputation for being difficult. In 2010, he was caught in an SEC sting operation for securities fraud. Though charges were later dropped, the scandal severely damaged his already dwindling reputation. He also lost a brother to suicide and struggled with survivor's guilt from his time in Vietnam. Now 77, Wilcox lives in rural Arizona, isolated and contemplative. His estate is estimated at $850,000, the remnants of a career that never quite lived up to its initial promise. Lou Wagner, who portrayed Harlan Arliss, the eccentric, good-hearted mechanic in CHiPs, was 38 when he joined the series in 1978. Though his role was minor, he brought authenticity and subtle humor to each scene. Off camera, Wagner led a far more reclusive life. He never married and had no children, long rumored to be due to his aversion to deep emotional attachments stemming from a traumatic childhood. Raised in foster care, he was estranged from both biological parents and never fully recovered from the suicide of his closest childhood friend. After CHiPs, his work in acting slowed, and he found solace only in animal welfare activism. He was evicted twice in the early 2000s due to financial mismanagement, leading to a brief period of homelessness. A serious fall in 2011 left him with permanent nerve damage, forcing him to rely on a caregiver. Now 84, he lives in a small assisted living facility near San Diego, quietly cared for by volunteers from the very rescue foundation he helped build. His estate is estimated at just $300,000, mostly from royalties and a modest trust set aside by a late cousin who was his only remaining family. Michael Dorn, who portrayed Officer Jebediah Turner in CHiPs, was 27 when he joined the series in 1979. Known for his quiet strength and calm under pressure, Turner added a grounded presence to the high-energy patrol unit. Dorn's post-CHiPs career soared with his role as Worf in Star Trek, but the success came at a personal cost. Though he married makeup artist Patricia Thomas in 1991, the marriage grew cold and ultimately ended in divorce in 2002. They had one son, Marcus Dorn, who struggled with substance abuse and estrangement. Dorn's private life remained shadowed by grief. His sister's death in a car crash in 1999, a near-fatal accident in 2005, his struggles with chronic depression, and the death of his father to cancer. Despite these tragedies, Dorn maintained his professionalism and sought solace in aviation, becoming a licensed pilot. Now 72, he lives in semi-retirement in California, appearing at conventions but largely withdrawn. Though his charisma remains, so does the melancholy of unhealed wounds. His estate is estimated at $4 million, largely built from his sci-fi legacy and speaking engagements. Randy Oakes, who portrayed Officer Bonnie Clark in CHiPs, was 28 when she debuted in 1979. As the show's prominent female patrol officer, Bonnie stood out with her confident presence and compassionate spirit. Off-screen, Oakes was hailed as a beauty queen turned actress, but her career ended abruptly in 1985 when she left the spotlight to focus on her family. Her marriage to actor Gregory Harrison in 1980 was once viewed as idyllic, but beneath the surface lay long separations, infidelity rumors, and bouts of postpartum depression. The couple had 4 children, Emma, Lily, Quinn, and a son, Jake, though their family life was often strained by Harrison's ongoing battle with addiction. Oakes quietly withdrew from Hollywood and never returned. Her later years were marked by isolation, anxiety, and regret over her career's untimely exit. Now 73, she resides in Oregon, far from the glamour that once defined her. Her estate is valued at approximately $1.5 million, mostly from prudent investments and her husband's continuing acting work, though she seldom appears in public. Paul Link, who played Officer Arthur Grossman in CHiPs, was 29 when the show launched in 1977. Grossman was the gentle soul among the high-octane cast, always ready with a smile or kind word. In real life, Link's affable image masked profound heartbreak. He married Francesca Chex Draper, a musician and artist, in 1978, and they had 3 children, Aaron, Ryan, and Lily. But tragedy struck in 1986 when Francesca died of cancer, shattering Link's world. He channeled his grief into a one-man show, Time Flies When You're Alive, but the pain never left. His second marriage ended in divorce after only 3 years, citing irreconcilable differences rooted in his lingering sorrow. He struggled with chronic insomnia, estrangement from his eldest son, and recurring financial issues due to failed investments in indie films. Though he continued to act and write, including directing small theater productions, his output dwindled. Now 77, he lives alone in Los Angeles. His estate is modest, valued at roughly $800,000, much of it in royalties and residuals from CHiPs and later work. Brody Greer, who portrayed Officer Barry, Bear, Barixa, was 28 when he joined CHiPs in 1977. Known for his physical prowess and steely dedication, Bear became a fan favorite despite limited screen time. Greer's real life, however, unraveled quietly. After CHiPs, his acting career sputtered, landing only a few minor roles before fading into obscurity. He married sports agent Tara Mansfield in 1984, but the union was short-lived, plagued by accusations of infidelity and emotional distance. They had one daughter, Samantha, who later cut ties with him over a bitter inheritance dispute involving her mother. Greer never remarried, and his later years were defined by isolation, coaching high school volleyball and basketball to stay connected. A reclusive figure, he battled a diagnosis of bipolar disorder, a brief period of homelessness in the early 2000s, and estrangement from most of his family. Now 75, he lives in a modest rental in Monterey. His estate is estimated at only $300,000, largely from a small pension and occasional fan convention appearances. The glory of CHiPs remains his only enduring legacy. Bruce Penhall, who portrayed Officer Bruce Nelson in the final season of CHiPs, was just 25 years old when he joined the show in 1982, bringing real-life motorcycle championship experience to his confident, thrill-seeking character. His youth, charm, and athleticism made him a standout addition in the show's waning years. While his transition from motorsport to television seemed promising, Penhall struggled to secure major acting roles after CHiPs ended. His career pivoted back to racing, but the spark of Hollywood never reignited. His personal life was marked by heartache. His marriage to Lori Penhall, once seen as stable, ended quietly in the early 2000s after years of emotional drift. They had two sons, Connor and Evan, but tragedy struck in 2012 when Connor was killed by a drunk driver while working on a freeway construction site. Bruce never fully recovered. He withdrew from the spotlight, haunted by guilt and loss. Despite occasional public appearances in motorsport events, he lived a mostly reclusive life in California. Now 68, Penhall's estate is estimated at $1.5 million, much of it tied to vintage racing memorabilia and property. Though he remains a respected figure in racing circles, the pain of his son's death continues to cast a long shadow over his later years. Caitlyn Jenner, who appeared as Officer Steve McLeish in CHiPs at the age of 32 in 1981, brought a composed and meticulous energy to her role as a disciplined patrol officer. Known then as Bruce Jenner, the Olympic champion's presence on the show symbolized a crossover from athletic glory to screen stardom. However, her post-CHiPs acting career never gained lasting momentum, and she remained best known for her athletic achievements until her highly publicized gender transition in 2015. Jenner's personal life has been riddled with turmoil: 3 marriages, all ending in divorce, and 6 children, including Bert, Cassandra, Brandon, Brody, Kendall, and Kylie. Her relationships with many of them have been publicly strained, especially following her transition and subsequent reality television appearances. Deep rifts with the Kardashian family and media scrutiny have left Jenner often isolated. She has faced criticism from both political and LGBTQ+ circles, feeling alienated from the very communities she tried to bridge. Now 75, she lives in a secluded Malibu property with an estimated estate of $25 million. Though she continues to advocate for transgender issues, her later years have been marred by loneliness, estrangement, and the weight of misunderstood fame. Gwynne Guilford, who played Betty Gettreyer, the patient, supportive wife of Sergeant Joe Gettreyer, in CHiPs, was 33 when she joined the show in 1979. Her warm, grounding presence balanced the adrenaline-fueled world of motorcycle officers, offering rare glimpses of domestic life amidst California's highways. Yet after stepping away from the spotlight in the mid-1980s, Guilford abandoned acting altogether. Married to actor Robert Pine, their relationship endured but was never entirely peaceful. Though they remained legally married, Guilford reportedly sought emotional distance, moving into psychotherapy to find purpose outside of Hollywood's illusion. Together, they had 2 children, including actor Chris Pine, whose own rise to fame created a complicated dynamic. Guilford often felt overshadowed by her son's success and distant from the industry that once embraced her. Her later years have been spent in introspection, often retreating into her therapy work while battling health issues, including a stroke in 2018 that left her partially disabled. Now 78, she lives quietly in Los Angeles, her estate estimated at $3 million. Though outwardly stable, her life has been shadowed by emotional estrangement, quiet regret, and the echoes of a fame she never truly embraced. Clarence Gilliard Jr., who played the loyal and intuitive Officer James, Jimmy, Trevette in Walker, Texas Ranger, never appeared in CHiPs, but his career nonetheless paralleled those in the series, marked by potential, faith, and personal tragedy. He was 37 when Walker began in 1993, bringing a steady presence as Chuck Norris's right-hand man. Off-screen, Gilliard endured a turbulent private life. His first marriage to Catherine Dutko ended in divorce, citing irreconcilable differences and infidelity. His second marriage to Elena Gilliard brought some stability, but tensions reportedly simmered over his long absences and shifting priorities. He had 6 children, some from each marriage, but his relationship with them was often complicated by his devout religious transformation in the 2000s. A born-again Christian, Gilliard abandoned much of Hollywood for academia, teaching theater in Nevada. He also faced serious health issues in his later years, including an undisclosed illness that he battled privately. He died on November 28, 2022, at the age of 66. His death came as a shock to fans and colleagues alike. At the time of his passing, Gilliard's estate was estimated at $1 million, much of it left to his family. Despite his gentle spirit and devotion to faith, his final years were marked by physical decline, emotional solitude, and the slow fading of a once bright Hollywood light. Catherine Cannon, who portrayed Officer Roxanne in CHiPs, was just 25 when she joined the series in 1978, bringing both poise and a grounded confidence to her brief but memorable appearances. Behind the camera, her life mirrored few of the bright tones of her on-screen charm. She was married to actor Dean Butler, best known for his role on Little House on the Prairie, but their union grew cold and strained over time. They divorced in the late 1990s, reportedly due to conflicting career ambitions and emotional distance. They had one son, Matthew, who struggled with depression and later moved abroad, further deepening her sense of isolation. Catherine's post-CHiPs career never truly took off. After a few scattered roles, she faded from the spotlight and retreated into a quiet, reclusive lifestyle. Personal losses mounted. Her mother passed away from cancer, her younger sister died tragically in a car accident, and Catherine herself was diagnosed with breast cancer in her 60s, from which she later recovered. Now 71, she lives modestly in Oregon, far from Hollywood's glare. Her estate is estimated at around $500,000, consisting mainly of retirement savings and a small cottage she bought decades ago. Joey Oresco, who played Sergeant John Luga on CHiPs at age 29 in 1978, lent a steely, no-nonsense tone to the California Highway Patrol. With his intense stare and commanding presence, he embodied a figure of respect and discipline. However, Oresco's personal life was marred by silence and distance. He married screenwriter Elizabeth Vance in 1982, but their relationship quickly turned loveless. The couple had 2 children, Jason and Mia, though Joey rarely saw them after the divorce in 1991. His career stumbled after CHiPs, with roles drying up and a failed production company venture draining his savings. Depression, alcohol dependence, and multiple rehab stints followed. His estrangement from his children deepened after Jason's 2012 arrest for drug possession, which Oresco took as a personal failure. He found minor work in theater but mostly survived on residuals and Social Security. Now 75, he lives alone in a modest apartment in Burbank. His estate is estimated at $250,000, mostly in dwindling savings and a modest pension. His voice remains strong, though few now call to hear it. Joe Penny portrayed Patrolman Bobby Nelson on CHiPs, joining the cast at just 22 years old with a rugged charm and an undercurrent of volatility that gave the series a jolt of fresh energy. He would later become famous for his roles in Riptide and Jake and the Fatman, yet behind his screen charisma was a life marked by quiet pain. Penny never married, despite a long, tumultuous relationship with actress Jenny Robertson that ended when she suffered a miscarriage in 1994, a loss neither recovered from. Penny remained childless and guarded, retreating further into isolation with each passing year. His later career was plagued by health issues. He suffered a stroke in 2015, which left partial paralysis on his right side, forcing early retirement. Estranged from his brother due to a family inheritance dispute, he spent his last working years mentoring young actors and occasionally appearing at conventions, though his smiles often seemed rehearsed. Now 68, Joe Penny lives in semi-seclusion in Arizona, where he paints and writes poetry. His estate is estimated at $800,000, bolstered by careful investments and residuals, though he rarely indulges in anything beyond necessities. Who is your favorite character from CHiPs? How does it feel knowing that some of the actors are no longer with us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future uploads. Thank you for your support.